It's February at Ferns Lodge, and this is a grey, cold day, and here is Ghillie ready to help us with the tour. We are having a look at the garden during Storm Ciara. You can see the no-dig policy, all of the composting on the beds, and it really does look very miserable. More composting on these raised beds, and the postman's come to call. I love all seasons at Ferns Lodge, but I have to say that February is the most challenging. We have also done some composting on this main bed here, very big area, and we've actually used up all the compost in the top garden. We've also composted this second area here, and see this huge tree fall. This is going to be absolutely lovely for all the plants and give them a nice feed. And we're far from finished. As you can see, this bed is also doing its thing, and that's a job for next weekend. The grass is just starting to grow, but everything looks a little bit grey and unhappy, although peeping up there are lots of little signs of the spring. And I'm just going to show you over here. Here is our new compost. It's just had lots of manure put on it and a carpet so that it can spend the next year rotting down. And there is the empty heap that has all gone onto the garden. And now we're going to go into the garden in restoration. We've had huge problems with tree fall. Fortunately, it's only been very little branches. We've had one large tree down into our watercourse, but that's now been cleared away because we do want to make sure that the water goes away. Big main bed, sleeping for the winter. And then we're walking down, despite lots of rain, wind and very unpleasant weather. We've been working hard on the garden this month because it's very important that we get as much as possible done before the spring and the NGS opening. Look at these lovely wild daffodils. We've got lots of them around the wood, and they give you a glimpse of what is to come. And then at the bottom garden, we're just coming into the new area that's been massively cleared this month. And there's the work area on the left, and we're just going to have a look in here because we've started to use the composting from the bottom garden. It's 3 years old and it's absolutely amazing, and there is lots and lots of it. It is 150 steps from this area to the bottom of the top garden, so my step counter has been working overtime with many loads of compost in the wheelbarrow. Of course, it's far too soft for us to use the big lawnmower and the trailer. Now this area has now been totally cleared. We've had a digger in, and lovely Simon has dug out all of the roots of briar and little trees that we didn't want. And so this area is now ready for planting. As I dictate this to you, we've had the first batch of wonderful plants arrive for planting. Look at this mound. That's going to be fantastic this summer. Very big area. We've got tree ferns, we've got silver birch, we've got all sorts of lovely acers and bits and pieces to go in there, so I'm hugely looking forward to doing that. This is the first area of the woodland garden which was planted last year, and although it looks a little bit sad, you can see how it's developing, and the tree fern has done brilliantly. It's very protected here. And this, of course, is the little wild meadow, very covered in leaves and tree fall and not looking its best. And here on the right hand side, I hope that you can see we've planted some whips which will make a little hedge which will be very nice and give some protection. And then we're going into the next area. This again, we've had a very careful digger in. Our huge mound is a little bit less. There's been some burning going on, and you now start to get an idea of the scale of our new vegetable garden, and our Dutch barn looks very tiny sitting in the middle of it. Of course, it's absolutely sodden at the moment. There's a small hole to the right because we need to increase the size of the drive to get things in and out, and the drive has now been rolled. It's still very, very wet, but we're hoping that as things dry out and as it's top dressed, it's going to start to do a proper job for us. And then we have our prickly patch, which is looking very wintry, but the daffodils are starting to come up. Those must be 50 or 60 years old, and every year there are more of them. And then we're coming back into the top garden. See how much standing water there is. It is just extraordinary. Never seen so much water here. Thank you for coming to Ferns Lodge.